When I think of fashion, I think of story. I think of art. I think of how I feel. I think of embodying who I am as a person through the clothing that I wear. You know, I've always wanted to be somebody who could tell a story in more than ways than one. From the things that I do, to the way that I walk, to the way that I carry myself, to the way that I just present myself through business and personal pleasure things, just life in general. My name is Prolific J. Welcome to Prolific Visions. This is a clothing brand started strictly and specifically for telling a story. The story of the man who walked alone. Sometimes he fell down, sometimes he felt depressed, sometimes he felt alone and just felt like nobody cared and nobody had anything for him, and he just felt like he had no say in the world, or just his story wasn't being told properly because everybody else was telling the story he wanted to tell. And I feel like maybe you understand that in some sense or some way because you've been there. Because if not, you wouldn't have wanted to support this brand, or you wouldn't have been felt so strongly drawn to this brand. That's how I feel. Before I made this brand, I've been deployed. And I actually made this brand on deployment while feeling alone, while feeling stressed out, while feeling like I had nothing left. And that was when Prolific Visions came to me. With the help of some family and friends, they helped me create a story and helped me create a vision that really made me feel like I could tell my story without feeling alone. It made me feel like I was part of something bigger, something greater, something that people would want to hear, something that people would want to see, that they would want to be a part of the journey of. And so that birthed Prolific Visions. August, I was in the drafting stage, coming up with names, coming up with ideas. September of 2025, that is, I was creating ideas, logos, clothing, mock-ups, storyboards, just trying to find out my style, my vision, and my story. October became a reality. I started promoting, I started pushing, I started really grinding and trying to do everything I possibly could to make it worth my while, to make this thing a reality. November 5th is my birthday. I turned 28 years old. My plushies were the first things I ever came up with. I don't know why I came up with plushies first. I just felt like it would be a cool way for me to market my brand, rather than just doing ads and just doing the things that everybody else is doing, right? Maybe it flops, maybe it doesn't. But I just love the fact that I was able to tell a story through something tangible. But this is my first thing I've ever made. Never done anything else. I just invested so much into this brand, so much into this story, so much into this movement that it became a reality. I manifested it through the actions, through the vision, through the hard work, through the dedication. You know, there's one thing about Prolific Visions that really sits right with me, because it goes like this. This is the quote of the brand. A vision without action is merely a dream. And you know, it's crazy because I had a vision, but I was scared to put action behind it because I didn't know if I would make it. I didn't know if it would be something I really wanted to do until I started turning that dream into a reality. Once I dropped those plushies and my manufacturer had told me they're almost ready, they should be ready in a week, man, that made me so excited. Once I filed for that trademark and I started to see the updates of that trademark coming back saying that it passed this, it passed that, it's going to this, it's going to that, it made me so excited. It made me feel like my hard work is finally paying off. I didn't do it for the money. I just did it because I wanted people to understand that they're not alone. This is a story. This is a movement. This isn't just a brand. This is a lifestyle. There's always light at the end of every tunnel, which is why the logo is what it is. So I know a lot of people, they're going to sit and think like, whoa, this brand is different. It's because we have a story behind it. We have a movement. there's a lifestyle that goes with this brand. It's not just about making money. It's not just about being the next top trending brand. It's about telling your story. It's about embarking who you are. And it's about really just paving that path for yourself to whatever it is you want to do. Success, money, financial freedom, lifestyle, content creation, whatever it is you want to do, you have to walk alone. You're gonna be lonely. You're gonna feel like nobody's there to support you, but as long as you support you, that's all that matters. So with that being said, I want to leave you with this. Action and a dream, they're one and the same. The dream becomes a reality because of the action, right? So, like the quote of Prolific Visions says, a vision without action is merely a dream. Welcome to Prolific Visions.